Hello, I am Tina Thompson. I'm an intervention specialist and I teach students with multiple disabilities, significant cognitive disabilities, pervasive developmental disorders. Um, we're going to take a look at rational and irrational numbers using the instructional systems design, and we'll walk through here, give you a brief overview of how the lesson or the instructional design model was used to create a unit on rational and irrational numbers for students. In the analysis phase, we took a look at what task we would handle, and that was the rational and irrational numbers. In the design phase, we begin to look at some of the objectives. So objectives here: students translating rational numbers in dividing fractions, interactive number lines to manipulate rational and irrational numbers, basically giving them the opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge of rational and irrational numbers. If you scroll down on this page, you will also see teacher notes as well as our grade band is 6 through 8 and lesson notes as well. And again, this is just an introductory lesson on rational and irrational numbers. Let's move forward in the Smart Exchange lesson. In the development of the lesson on rational and irrational numbers, there were many tasks that were implemented in the design. The classroom is set up. When students come in, there is always an informal assessment in the form of either a warm-up, a problem of the day, or even perhaps a class discussion. This was the warm-up. Where does your number belong on the number line? Students were given numbers and they were to place them on the number line. After warming up, we took a look at a whole class assignment. Some students were able to work with their peer to complete this assignment, and some did attempt to do it independently, but we did not have much success with the changing all the fractions to decimals and then placing them in descending order. The implementation of the instructional design included ongoing formal and informal assessment opportunities. For example, this is a warm-up. Today's meet. The students log on to this website, and there is a question that I have posed for them. Not sure why my screen is being so jumpy. Am I a rational number or irrational? And then I listed a number to 0.12 and asked the students how they know. So you'll see my name here, and then when the student signs in to respond, they type their first name here and give it the old college try by joining the conversation. Using technology within this instructional design provides the opportunity for students to interact with their learning. Here's an example of an exit ticket. Students had to write an example of the number on the target in the correct area. So rational, the students who wrote in this blue target area should have a rational number. Can be written as a ratio 4 over 8 or 1/2, so this would be correct. You have natural numbers here, and here in the whole number section we see a student that put 1.25 And I believe if we scroll down to the bottom, one of the students tried the irrational number um, of pi. So it's not showing on the screen, it's kind of below it, but actually they got the square root of 2 as their irrational number. So some students are able to demonstrate their understanding. Further in the implementation process, you see our I can statements. And again, we're identifying rational numbers, demonstrating when a number is irrational, separating rational numbers from irrational numbers. Number target, once again, we use the numbers in the real number system, and students practice the vocabulary for this particular session. In the backdrop, you actually see students work or students working on some of the assignments that we use during this unit. More definitions or vocabulary as we go through here, and more vocabulary here as well. This is actually one of the assignments that the students were given. Is it rational? Again, this was to be an independent assignment. Most students either worked with direct instruction in small group or one-on-one, and those who were able were allowed to work on their own independently as they went through. Quizlet is one of the interactive technology websites that was used during this lesson that allowed students to come and practice their vocabulary or to use the vocabulary to answer their questions. Natural numbers, and if you visited Quizlet, you tap the button where it says click to flip, and it gives you the positive counting numbers, including 0. So Quizlet was a source that they could use. This was an exit ticket, and the students were to identify which number is irrational. So this was one of the exit tickets. And the students were given a post-it note, and they would just either write down the square root of 49 or pi. In designing this instructional lesson, there's also, again, continuous opportunities for informal assessment. Here, students were categorizing rational numbers or irrational numbers, if they were terminating decimals, non-terminating or repeating, or non-terminating and non-repeating. So in the instructional design method, students, again, are being given the opportunity to show what they know, and I have created numerous opportunities of informal assessments that I may gather data. This is a handy-dandy look at pi, which is one of the irrational numbers. Um, Anytime you see the little icons embedded within the Smart Exchange lesson, you can click there and it will take you directly to the video. Another website that was used for students to do a tutorial on irrational numbers and rational numbers. Once students complete the tutorial, you see it goes on into examples. One of the most famous ones of irrational numbers is pi. It then compares rational versus irrational. And as students continue through this self-tutorial on rational and irrational numbers, they have their composition notebooks, and they're taking notes. And at the end, there is, again, the opportunity for an assessment opportunity here with 10 questions. And at the end, it provides for me the student data to see how our students are doing with that. Real world application. Real world applications were embedded within the lessons. This one had to do with T-Mobile and a cell phone bill. And even though some of our students may not have cell phones, they can relate to this. And this gives them the opportunity to see rational and irrational in real life. Here's a review of the number system. Again, whenever you see the little globe, you click it and it will take you right to this video. And it's a nice review on irrational numbers. Irrational numbers. Next, you see a classifying rational and irrational numbers. This is a mat. Students have several rational and irrational numbers, and their responsibility was to, after cutting these cards and separating them, and they were allowed use of calculators, students then had to classify whether the numbers were rational or irrational. For the summative assessment, the student focus groups that I chose to participate, here's an example of one of the students.
What number did you choose, Juliana?
Pi symbol.
Okay.
Students are able to write on the screen and explain what they're doing.
And where would you classify pi? In what set of numbers?
Irrational.
Okay. And why is pi irrational?
Because the number keeps going on and on.
Very good.
So that's just a sample of one of the students giving her summative assessment, integrating technology. The actual Addie math instructional design is saved in a PDF document. You will see here within the document everything to coincide with the Smart Exchange lesson and the introduction and basically the framework for how class is conducted. As you scroll through the document, the PDF version makes it very easy and user-friendly to see step-by-step procedures, instruction, activities, where the internet has and technology has been implemented and integrated throughout the lesson. All web links are active, and again, more opportunities for real-world application. Also, you will see here the parent packet. The parent guide also is included as a PDF document as parents go through the mathematics domain with us and examine rational and irrational numbers in our instructional design unit. All these items can be found on Smart Exchange for your viewing and usage as you would like. Thank you again for visiting the instructional design featuring rational and irrational